America's newest true crime comedy podcast. Death and Entertainment starts now.
The following program contains scenes and language of a frank and explicit nature. Viewer discretion is advised.
Live from Los Angeles.
Hoo-ah! Here we go!
This is exciting, isn't it?
We'll do it live. We'll do it live. Okay.
It is 7 p.m. Do you know where your deados are?
Right here.
Right here, right now. There is no other place I'd rather be. What about you, Andy Roon?
This is a moment I've dreaded.
Well, that's not very nice.
Who invited you anyway?
Yes, welcome aboard, everybody, for another Death and Entertainment Tonight live. Another Tuesday night live, if you will. Gustav Brule, what's going on from Minneapolis? How are you, bud?
Must be cold.
Cold as a witch's in a brass bra.
Coming on.
If you know what
pretty strong tonight.
If you know what I'm getting at.
I do.
Yeah.
I catch your drift.
Drift means two things. And I believe we have some.
We have breaking news.
A piece of media history has been sold today.
Can I guess?
Guess.
The ruby slippers from The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, that would be something now, wouldn't it? It's a little bit less iconic, but it's more iconic to television. Okay. We will share the screen here. The famed booth from Tony's The Sopranos finale. Booth from the Sopranos finale. The very disappointing Sopranos finale, by the way.
The final scene with Journey playing.
Yes.
Is he whacked? Is it a dream? Did he go to sleep?
Yeah.
Everyone thought their cable went out.
There were people saying that this is a new theory that I've heard is that Tony didn't get whacked. The audience got whacked.
Oh, we sure did.
Yeah.
And I want to know what genius didn't fall for that. Because I watched it as everyone else did when it premiered, the finale.
Yeah.
And me and my buddy were switching chords and hitting the TV. We're like, what happened?
Oh, wow. So you guys really fell for it.
Absolutely. I was about to get on the phone. Spectrum.
Mr. Cable Company? So you were already caught up. You already watched The Sopranos and you were ready for this finale.
Not the full show, because at that time it was hard. Streaming wasn't what it is now.
Yeah.
In 2007.
That's true.
But I am one of the original viewers.
Wow.
I watched it when it premiered in 1999, and I saw it as often as I could through the years.
That's crazy. So you saw the finale not knowing everything that got him to that point.
Not every little thing, but I was following the last season pretty closely.
Ah.
And dare I say, the second to last episode is better than the last.
Wow.
'Cause
Penultimate, they call it.
Yeah, the penultimate. Because I love the part where Lorraine Bracco, his psychiatrist, tells him off.
Ooh.
Because she realizes that she can't help him.
He is the monster.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, so apparently this booth, very famous in TV lore, it has been sold to the highest bidder. Tony's booth was a tourist attraction for years at Holston's Ice Cream Parlor in Broomfield, New Jersey. But the shop needs a renovation, and the parlor booth had to go to the highest bidder in order to pay for the renovations. And you would think, what would you think that it would go for?
Okay, final booth, probably $5,000.
$5,000?
Yeah.
That's all you think it would go for?
Well, I don't know. What are you going to do with this old booth? You'd have to always tell people what it's from, too. It's not like one of those things where people are like, oh, my God, that's the booth from The Sopranos. You would never even know. Like the ruby slippers, that's obvious.
Well, if you put it in like the Smithsonian or something, people would know exactly what it is.
If you put a cardboard stand-up of James Gandolfini, perhaps.
We got our first guess here, $300K. That's even lower than I thought the bid would be. I would think like $1 million.
Okay.
Iconic cable
Yeah.
television. This is, up there with Breaking Bad and The Wire as the best TV show of all time.
Right.
One of the most divisive finales of all time.
Right.
It went for $82,000.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And they didn't even go through like a certified television and film like historian auctioneer or auction process through like an organization. They sold it on eBay with an opening bid of $3,000.
Oh my God. Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
They listed on all the sites. Offer up.
And they say an all-out a bidding war ensued.
Someone from Craigslist tries to scam them.
Yeah. Yeah. A Nigerian prince is going to send you money to send back to him.
Yeah.
When the dust settled Monday, the auction closed and the booth had sold for $82,600, more than enough to cover costs for Holston's upcoming reservations for new floors and new booths.
Okay, so it's the chicken and the egg where they can't do the renovations without the money they make from the booth.
Yeah.
No, because I was genuinely thinking if I were them, I would just I would do the renovations, but try to keep the booth anyway.
Right.
As an attraction.
Absolutely. Yeah, you could put it off in the corner with a red velvet rope in front of it and have people go, oh my God, that's the place.
Exactly.
That's where it happened. Gustav said, deal made in the back alley.
I think onto something there.
$82K and a top off behind the dumpster.
Oh, man.
It says not included in the $82K. The jukebox, Tony drops a quarter in to play Journey's classic tune, Don't Stop Believin', as he orders onion rings and waits for his wife, son, and daughter to join him in the booth.
So that's going to remain there.
Well, that jukebox was added by the film crew.
Oh, so that's not even part of the diner.
Now it says after the show, Holston included a plaque reading this booth reserved for the Soprano family. So yeah, that jukebox was gone and there was just a plaque that said this is reserved for the Sopranos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I hope whoever bought it finds good use for it in their kitchen.
Yeah, they just have it in the garage. It's like Kramer when he gets the set of like the Johnny Carson show or whatever.
The Merv Griffin show.
Merv Griffin show, that's right. He's conducting interviews and shit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, RIP to the Sopranos Diner. It is officially out of the place it was filmed at.
Maybe that collector can put the booth inside Walter White's trailer.
Oh, that would be something. That would actually be amazing.
Yeah.
But you know what's more amazing?
What?
The person we're celebrating in the next segment.
Ooh.
Coming right up. Oh, big news here.
Yeah,
Alejandro.
Huge one here. Icon.
Yeah.
A living legend. Well, was a living legend.
Yeah.
Richard Lewis
has left the building.
Yeah, he's one of the last of the, that generation that came up in the 80s, late 70s.
Yeah.
During the comedy boom.
Right.
The David Brenners.
Yes.
He was right up there. and Richard Jeni, a little bit older than him, but you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. These guys came out of the boom and just took over show business for decades.
For sure.
It's crazy.
Because a kid from Wisconsin like me, if I knew who Richard Lewis was when I was very young, that tells you something.
It tells you a lot.
Yeah, mainly due to Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yeah, same. That's exactly, I'd seen him in random things, but Robin Hood Men in Tights was the number one thing.
Yeah, that actually was the first movie that I saw at 9 p.m.
Yeah.
My mom took me and my brother that summer, 1993, to the 9 p.m. showing.
Ooh.
That was so exciting to me at the time.
I'm jealous. I didn't get to see it in the theater.
Yeah, because it felt like, oh my God, I should be in bed. I'm a little kid.
Yeah.
But instead, I'm at the freaking movie theater seeing Robin Hood Men in Tights.
You got to be kidding me.
Yeah, it was so great.
I'm jealous now.
I know. Where's a time machine?
Yeah, for real.
So did you ever get to meet Richard Lewis?
I did not.
Because you met most comedians.
I've met a lot of guys in my day.
Yeah.
Yeah. He, for the show that I was working on, was one of the only like old school legendary comics that didn't come through. I mean, we had John Lovitz there. We had Louis Anderson there every week. A lot of guys that came through. And surprisingly, Richard Lewis did not want Byron Allen's money, apparently.
Oh, he wouldn't have worked on that show.
Everybody but him did.
Yeah, why is that? Just everyone's a whore?
Money's money. They were getting, I can't disclose how much they were getting, but they were getting paid a good amount every Tuesday.
Really?
Yeah.
Just for appearing on Comics Unleashed?
Yeah, on a show that nobody watches, yes.
Wow.
Not Comics Unleashed. Funny you should ask, which was the game show.
I didn't ask.
Yeah. Thank God.
So it wasn't even Comics I've never even heard of that one.
Yeah.
I've heard of Comics
You're in good company.
Yeah, that was the one that was on all the time, the other one.
Yeah.
Richard Lewis also has a memorable role in Leaving Las Vegas.
Mm.
And he didn't do a ton of movies, but he did make an impression in Robin Hood.
Sure did. So did his mole.
Yeah, exactly. The mole keeps changing.
The two most famous, well, maybe four most famous moles. You got Cindy Crawford, Marilyn Monroe. You got Richard Lewis in Robin Hood Men in Tights, and Fred Savage in Goldmember.
Yeah, Austin Powers.
Most infamous moles in entertainment history.
So why don't we take a look back at the career of Mr. Lewis? We have a wonderful tribute clip show here tonight.
Perfect.
So we're going to start with, this is his, here we go. His PR for Robin Hood. Height of his career.
All right.
Robin fella, huh? How can I stop him?
Currently, Richard is playing Prince John in Mel Brooks' new film called Robin Hood Men in Tights. It's the reason we're talking, a fact that he'll remind me of over and over again.
Robin Hood, ho, men in tights.
I've talked to everybody and they said that you're absolutely certifiable nuts. You're always...
That's crazy.
Always
Where's
on.
the palm trees?
You're
No.
always on.
I'm not always on. That's a lie. Where are they? I'm always on. Here's Mel Brooks. What are you having for lunch? I might have a club sandwich, maybe two. I'm always on.
By now, I'm realizing that having a logical conversation with Richard is going to be monumental, to say the least. There's no switch on this guy.
Okay. I was off once in 1952 when I fell on my knee and I cried. Maybe they are right. But I'm very real most of the... When I sleep, I'm not on.
Tell me about
When I'm on the toilet, I'm off. So I'm constipated.
Nice.
Might I add that most comics are on for the entirety of an interview or any situation where there's a camera.
Right.
Although in real life, he might have turned it off sometimes.
I doubt it. A lot of these guys just don't have an off switch.
Really?
It can get really grueling.
You think, so you think he was like a Robin Williams?
He might have. I don't know. I don't know many stories. I haven't heard many stories about him off stage, so I can't say for sure. But
I played you that clip on our podcast episode where Barry Sonnenfeld, who worked with him in the movie RV, he said that he went to dinner with Robin Williams after shooting one day, and then years later, Barry went back to that same restaurant, and then one of the waiters came up to him and told him, I still have PTSD from that night that you were here with Robin Williams because he turned into Don Rickles.
Yeah.
And wouldn't touch his food and went around, hey, look at this watch. Hey, lady, how you been?
Bing bong. Yeah, I mean, Robin Williams was definitely on all the time. I don't know about Richard Lewis, though.
Yeah, and so Robin Hood Men in Tights, you mentioned the mole. It keeps changing positions on his face. And I love how broad this movie is. It's just everything, the punchline is always 2 miles away and you love it.
Yeah.
Like there's a big fight scene and he's sitting there as Prince John in his throne. And then he just leans over. He's like, check, please. Table 5.
Yeah. And the mole, he's like, I could have sworn the mole was on the other side of your face yesterday, and now it's on this side. And he just looks at him and goes, I have a mole?
Yeah.
It's jumping around his face the whole fucking movie.
Right. Not so memorable was his turn in Wagons East.
Oh.
Which John Candy died on the set of.
Yes. Last movie for Mr. Candy.
Yeah. So can't win them all.
He said, check, please.
He did. And in that movie, they reuse a lot of John Candy's takes later in the movie to make it look like he was still there on set.
Oh, he just says the same thing in a different tone.
Well, he reacts the same way. And it's proven if you watch it side by side, it's the same shot.
I honestly didn't even know that movie came out. I thought it was shelved because he died in the middle of it.
No, it came out. Because I always remember that poster. I saw it at the Pumpin' Pantry in Fond du Lac.
Pumpin' Pantry?
Yeah.
Sounds like a place I don't want to go to.
A gas station that also rented movies.
That also fucked you in the back.
And sold fried chicken. They had the best fried chicken that side of Wisconsin.
Ooh.
But the poster was Richard Lewis and John Candy pointing to each other like this. Like, check out this guy.
Oh, wow. Good old Pumpin' Pantry.
Okay, so let's continue this tribute to Richard Lewis. He was all over the place, as we mentioned.
Yeah.
Just took over the comedy scene after the boom. So here he is in a commercial for a defunct fruit juice.
So I go to a party and I got my choice of Coke or Pepsi. This isn't right. I want a Boku, a 7-fruit blend Boku. I mean, all this carbonation is very unsettling. I don't want to belch anymore. Belching is for babies. I want to be refreshed naturally, calmly. I mean, it's my undeniable right as a man of the 90s to quench my thirst in my own way. I want a Boku. I've had it. People invite me to a party, I'm bringing my own Boku.
Boku fruit juice cooler from McCain.
Is that too much to ask?
I want a Boku.
Yeah. That is brutal.
And
Who's
I
ever heard of Boku?
No, I know. I guess it stopped probably a decade after that commercial. This was probably 1990.
Yeah.
So it didn't last very long. Although it lasted long for something I've never heard of.
Right.
Because you'd think we would have come across that at some point.
Yeah.
I remember Zima and Kick and Jolt.
Oh, Jolt was the shit.
Surge.
Yeah. Yeah. You have a dissenter here. Emily Peterson says Kroll's has the best fried chicken in Wisconsin.
Oh, them fighting words.
Take that, Pumpkin Pantry.
Yeah, well, I'd be willing to taste test. Yeah. I love how commercials in the 80s and 90s would date themselves by trying to be modern. They would always say, I'm a man of the 90s, or as a woman of the 1980s. And at the time, they thought they were being so modern.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so up next we have, did you know he was on a hit TV show, a sitcom?
Did I?
With Jamie Lee Curtis.
I did not know that.
And it lasted for 3 seasons, which is an odd number. Because, let me do the math on this. I believe that, 56 episodes.
Wow.
So well short of the 100 marker that would be great for syndication.
Yeah.
Actually, it's saying here there were 4 seasons even.
Wow.
So they were short. It went to Lifetime eventually. It's one of those that started out on network TV and then ended on Lifetime. But so it was pretty much a hit to begin with and just kind of had a slow death.
Right.
So here's a promo from that.
called foreplay. This is called foreplay.
I'd like our first time to be romantic.
I would have used the words like sweaty and depraved, but hey.
But when Jamie Lee Curtis, Richard Lewis, and John Ritter get together, that's called three-play.
Anything going on here that would sicken me?
It's the all-new Anything But Love, premiering Wednesdays, February 6th.
Oh my God, with John Ritter too, another Three's Company.
Yeah.
Oh, that's bad.
Well, audiences liked it for a little bit.
Until they didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of shows like that in the 90s where they would last for a little bit and then just disappear suddenly.
Yeah.
Like Caroline in the City. Remember that?
I sure do.
Like that was a big thing in our childhood, but I don't think it was on that long.
Really?
Really.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Dharma and Greg.
Ugh. That was the worst.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so weird. Isn't that funny?
I'm a free spirit.
Owen Wilson was like, I'm going to take that persona.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so some people in the chat mentioned that Richard Lewis made many appearances on the Johnny Carson show.
Mm-hmm.
He also did Leno. He says he was good friends with both Leno and Letterman.
Oh, Leno.
Obviously did Letterman too.
Yeah.
But I have a clip here from the Howard Stern show.
Ooh.
Where he also made many appearances.
I don't think I've seen Richard Lewis on Howard Stern.
And in this clip, it's from the mid-2000s. He had tried to get Artie Lang help, who was practically dying on the show.
Richard did.
Yeah, Richard stepped in, hardly knew Artie, and as an addict himself was offering advice, gave him the name of a therapist.
Wow.
Which Artie pretended to go to.
Pretended?
Yeah, he never actually went.
What a dick.
But he admits that Richard Lewis is a stand-up guy. And I don't mean because he's a stand-up comedian.
Wow.
I mean because he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
And so here's him on Howard with Artie and Robin in the crew, and he talks about his addiction struggles. And you'll notice at the beginning, Howard gives him shit because in his book, one of the big revelations of him at his rock bottom as an alcoholic was that he fell asleep during a movie at a premiere. And then Howard's like, are you kidding? Yeah. How can you not fall asleep? So anyway, here
one of your movies.
Yeah. Here it is.
Richard Lewis as a comedian. People know Richard Lewis as a comedian. What they don't know is, because they didn't read his book, but I did, many years ago, he hit rock bottom when he was addicted horribly to champagne and fell asleep at a movie premiere.
What? That was his bottom?
That was his rock bottom, and he hasn't had a drink since.
Wow.
I thought you had something to add.
No, that is just...
They're taking it very seriously. As
yeah.
He loves it when you belittle him.
I read it. It was crystal meth, by the way. He told me the drug.
Richard, you were horribly addicted.
It's like Artie on Jeopardy. I'll take crystal meth for 100,000. Let's get ready to rumble.
Richard Lewis was here the last time, and he was describing his own battle with alcohol addiction. Like I said, he hit rock bottom when he fell asleep at a movie premiere. And
he blacked out.
No.
He blacked out, yeah.
Hey, what about going out with a woman who I know now for 4 months and not remembering anything about it? That's a little more than champagne. I know you want to keep going with the champagne shit, fine, Hal, but it's crazy.
No, you were addicted to champagne, am I correct?
No, I was addicted to every drug except I didn't do any heroin or hallucinogens.
His book is crazy. It's good, but I read the whole thing, me and my sister, and we were comparing notes. It's a compelling book. He was out of control.
Lie a lot too, Richard?
I lied for 20 years.
Wow.
I had to go for a knee operation, and two of the people that broke down my door and had my intervention, they said, we're best friends. And then my sister came up on the whole 9 yards. I was at the old Ritz-Carlton.
Right.
And Brenner and everybody. They called me up. They said, we're never going to see you again. You're going to die, and we can't. If you don't help yourself, we're out of your fucking life.
What got you to listen?
Huh?
What got you to listen? Like, how do you get through to an Artie? I mean,
well, what got me to, I was speaking to Robin before. I said, what got me to listen, I did write about this. I was holed up in my house. I was totally depressed. Right. I had everything I ever dreamt of, and I was holed up doing crystal meth for 6 days. I lost about 15 pounds. I looked like a Jewish Howard Hughes getting ready for his fucking Haftorah, his bar mitzvah. And I looked in the mirror, and I went, I bought this house after struggling for 15 years before,
What are
meeting
the odds?
you and then Letterman, the whole 9 yards, and the series and all that shit. I said, I'm going to fucking die at 43 years old after all that. For what? For this fucking powder?
After all this struggle.
Yeah. Just doing jokes, and I'm living the life of a fucking king.
Right.
This is bullshit. And I called 2 friends to take me to the hospital, and that was it. No mas. That was 15 years ago.
Wow. Good for him.
Yeah, and he lived a lot longer than that.
Yeah. And Artie said he went to the therapist that he sent him to?
No. Oh, he lied, yeah.
He lied and said...
Initially, yes.
Yeah, and that's what... He also lied to... what's his name? Fuck, I can't think of his name.
Give me some hints here.
The Asian dude from Star Trek that hates...
Oh, George Takei.
George Takei lied and said that he was gay.
Yes.
And that he needed help navigating life after that. And he's the first person he was coming out to. And so George was like, I can help you. You've probably been through a lot of trauma. And they had like a serious heart-to-heart. And then he told him later that he lied. And they had it on air while they were all laughing about it.
Yeah, it was one of the crazier pranks they've pulled on that show because they set up hidden cameras.
Yeah.
And captured Artie fake coming out to George Takei. It's insane.
Yeah. That's brutal. So that's not the first time he's lied to someone who wanted to help him.
And Artie goes, yeah, me and my buddy then went back to my place and then I started blowing him and then he fucked me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Richard Lewis obviously overcame a lot and had a really comfortable career.
Yeah.
And so that brings us to the latter part of his career. So as you can see, in the 90s, he was everywhere.
Right.
Already had a solid career. But dare I say...
He was on Boku commercials, for Christ's sake.
He was making Boku bucks.
Hey, nice.
Dare I say his best work was yet to come.
Oh.
On a little show called Curb Your Enthusiasm. We all know Larry David is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
But him and Richard Lewis together...
So good.
It is, unparalleled.
Yeah.
They had such hilarious chemistry based on their real bond.
Yeah.
And so I grabbed a clip from one of my favorite episodes. It comes from the second season. And in the episode, Richard Lewis had introduced Larry to his therapist. And so they're both going to the same guy. And then one day at the beach, Larry sees the therapist in a pretty embarrassing light and then wants to leave the therapist. And he tells Richard Lewis his plan. And now Richard Lewis feels like he has to leave the therapist now, too.
You can't leave. I have to leave.
Yeah, after learning what Larry saw. And this is all over explaining everything, which kills comedy.
Yeah.
So why don't we just watch this clip?
All right.
Shit!
What?
I think I just saw my therapist. See you guy in a striped bathing suit? Skippy suit. See that?
I see him.
Holy shit. So, I just wanted to tell you, I'm leaving.
You know what? This is so unfair of you. I turned you on to this guy. He's a brilliant doctor, but I would have never told you.
You should be thanking me. Saving you from this hedonist giving you advice.
Hedonist? He's a hedonist? It's not a hedonist.
What is it?
This is my 28th therapist since 1969. I don't want to go anymore. I don't want to break the fucking record.
The recap is very hard.
Yeah.
Your recap is 2-3 months, isn't it?
2-3 months?
For you to recap?
That's just the crib. Born in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I know.
I felt alienated.
Okay, you don't have to do it now.
I
I understand. Yeah, we don't have to do it now. He's on to us. Knows about the whole thong thing. Knows all about it.
He knows about the
thong. Knows about the thong
He's
thing.
on to us?
He's on.
How could that happen?
He was on to me.
What about you? It's on to me now.
Well, he'll be on to you.
How did this happen? How do you add it? Are you out of it?
I'm out. Yeah.
How?
I told him I was happy and I didn't need the therapy.
You told him what?
I told him I was happy.
That's what I'm telling him. How can you steal my
I didn't
termination?
steal your termination. I didn't know you were going to say you were happy. We never discussed that.
How else am I going to leave a shrink?
What the fuck do I know?
I'm miserable. I'm suicidal. I want to leave.
I don't know.
So what am I going to do?
tell him you're a Scientologist or something.
I'm not a Scientologist.
Tell him you're into Scientology.
Oh, it's easier for you to say. I'm a straight person.
Doesn't matter. You need something to get out. Tell him you're into Scientology.
No, I need a better excuse.
Look, what is this? This is what?
How did you get that
This
fabric?
is this the Beverly Center, this thing? This is
it's
so,
not,
look
but
at
I
this,
want-
with the leather, the whole thing here.
No, that's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Okay.
Hey, listen, it's good to see you.
All right, good to see you.
You know, stay feeling good. I feel great, too.
What's the name of that book again? Battlestar Galactica?
I don't know. I just,
Okay,
you know,
I'll check that out. It's a movie, too, isn't it?
I have no idea what you're talking
Battlestar
about.
Galactica.
Whatever
Okay.
you want. Just
Yeah,
be
I'm
happy,
very
you
happy.
know?
I'm very happy for you.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I've never felt better in my entire life.
R.I.P. Richard Lewis.
Absolutely.
That is a big loss to the comedy world. And he was still going up until the end.
Yeah.
We have here this, it says here, I actually didn't see it yet, but Curb just honored Richard in the latest episode. They said it opened up with like a title card, you know, honoring him in memory of Richard Lewis, 1947 to 2024. So, yeah, that is sad, but that's life, right?
That's what all the people say.
He had a good run.
He did.
All right. What do we got next?
We got something next. I know we have a title card next. And we go into the next story here. The Rust trial continues.
This Rust trial is fascinating to me.
Absolutely. There's a lot going on. Hannah Gutierrez still under fire, for lack of a better word. She is on trial for the manslaughter of Helena Hutchins. And we've had some crazy testimony that's been going on lately.
Nonstop.
Yeah, today there was some fireworks in the courtroom, and a judge kind of freaked out that a firearms expert just willy-nilly took a gun out and just held it up, and she was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's take it easy here for a second.
Yeah, what is this? The set of Rust?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so let's see this clip here.
Yeah, I've been watching this trial.
Actually, hold on. We
Got some technical difficulties here.
Yeah, we got to remove the clip when it's done. And now we can share this. And boom, boom, bang. Here
There's our man.
we go. This is our guy right here. So let's...
Firearms expert.
Yes. And he says, you know, he'll pull it out. Go to the pump and dump station in Wisconsin.
Do it in public, and I will clarify that it is not loaded. Okay? The first is a real...
Mr. Kuski, are you able to take the cylinder out so you can show everyone also that it's unloaded?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
There's something important. And here is a Genex revolver.
All right, first of all, everybody's nervous because you have not demonstrated to us that they are unloaded. So before you start showing us the weapons, make sure they're unloaded, including that one that you just touched.
So he's got two guns that he just whips out, and he's like, hey, I got these. And the judge is like, wow, settle down there, pal.
Suddenly debris falls from the ceiling.
Yeah.
He's like, whoops.
Did I do that? Because he takes one out, and the bailiff is helping him, and one gun is in a pouch, and then he reaches behind that one and just pulls one out that isn't in any sort of casing whatsoever. And that's when everyone freaked out. The defense or the prosecution attorney runs and is like, whoa, objection here. Judge yells at him.
He looks like a maniac when he's holding that gun up. You don't know.
I feel like anyone who has these kind of jobs is a fucking maniac.
Yeah.
Because we've seen a number of them, and they're all crazy, and we'll get to more after this. But yeah, so he takes it out. Judge says, hey, can you show us, everyone's nervous here, that the gun is actually unloaded. And he does that, while he's doing that, the next like 4 minutes are completely muted. But you can see on camera here, he's taking everything out. And like, even this guy's like, point the gun down, because he was pointing it right at the judge.
Yeah. And some of the articles said allegedly pointed at the judge. You can see him pointing the gun at the judge.
It was clearly pointed right at the judge's face.
And you know what's interesting about this point in the trial? The prosecution has rested.
Yeah.
And so they actually had a really bad day yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And some of their witnesses, it didn't go as well as they hoped for. And so the defense had everything to lose today. And the first thing they do is bring out this clown.
Yeah. This is the second gun he brings out. These lawyers, the defense and the prosecution and the judge, aren't even looking when he brings the second gun out. It's just like complete mayhem. This woman in the corner, the bottom left, she's actually a police officer, and she's looking behind her.
Yeah. Suddenly he turns into old man Rambo and pulls out a bazooka with a magazine of bullets.
Yeah.
He's like, these are dummies, don't worry.
Rambo, second blood. So he's got all these. This is all muted until about
Granbo.
Nice. Granbo, last blood. And now he's just sitting and waiting.
Fire, correct?
Okay, here.
Replica.
This is when we get the sound back.
Okay, Chrissy, I want to make sure that, one, first of all, the Denix is the replica, that's non-firing. That is obviously clear, it cannot fire, correct?
Yes, I wish to demonstrate.
Okay, but and just let me lead the question.
Sure.
I wish to demonstrate.
Data, you cleared with the deputy, but I want you to be able to take that cylinder out so we can show everyone it's clear. Is that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Gun is pointing in a safe direction.
Like, puts it under his jaw.
Cylinder.
Bud Dwyer, too.
He's like, hold on, I gotta
Cylinder is
scratch
retained
my
by a
nose.
pin.
Yeah.
Once that pin is removed, again.
This also is all kind of for show, because there's no way you can get into a courthouse with a gun without security knowing about it before you bring it into the courtroom.
Right.
So this has been checked multiple times, but the judge is like, even though it has been checked, you're making everybody nervous in here.
Yeah.
Let's do the right thing and show them that it's not loaded.
Good point.
And may be put in a partially cocked position. The cylinder may be pushed out. And again, the barrel's safe. You can look right straight through it. Sir, would you take that and show them all it's empty? Is that acceptable?
It's up to the court.
No. Yes.
Okay.
So the deputy is not involved in this.
Okay.
Ooh.
And so
it is empty. I demonstrated it's empty.
Okay.
May I return it to the
Yes.
firearm?
Takes so much to prove a gun isn't loaded.
Yeah. Oh, now he turns around like he is loading it like a fucking psycho.
He is. Jeez.
Oh no, he's putting the the pin back in.
Okay. Well, John Eric Hexum died from a piece of paper, so
yeah,
really, you're never safe fully.
Especially with this guy who's fumbling around with this weapon.
Jesus, even his tie is making me nervous.
Okay, so now the first thing I want to ask you, comparing the Denix, the replica, to the real, the Pieta, do they share some of the same characteristics?
Yes, they do.
And can you tell the jury, is the Denix made to look like the Pieta?
Absolutely.
And side by side, if you can, and Your Honor, may he step down to show the jury?
Yes.
May
I thought they were just trying to get rid of him.
May he approach the jury? I'd
So
like
if
to
you can show
demonstrate.
He's
the
holding a pair.
Pieta and the
Is
Denix
theirs
side
right
by
side
side,
up?
just
They're like, whoa.
so they can see.
This is a Denix. It is a replica, totally unfiring with a blocked barrel. It functions completely like a regular revolver. The cylinder turns, it will
Or
cock,
does it?
it will snap and fire. It's unable
And
to
somebody
fire
goes
any
crazy. He's like, I
ammunition.
got one
It's used as
bullet
a
left.
Yeah, so that's that.
Am I feeling lucky, punk?
That guy freaked everybody out.
Yeah, that was pretty unexpected today.
Yeah.
So it didn't go so well for the defense today.
It didn't go well for a lot of people, including the assistant director,
Dave Hall.
Okay. But yet, you testified earlier.
And this is the guy that in the famous 911 call that the script supervisor calls a real a-hole.
Mm-hmm.
Every time before this, since the start of the Rust filming, Miss Gutierrez Reed always did a complete weapons check with you.
Yes.
So you're saying that this time, for whatever reason, she abandoned her habit and everything she had done before, and you had praised her for doing a good job.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow on this occasion, you're saying that there wasn't a full rotation. Is that right?
Yes.
Well, why didn't you say something?
He looks like
to
Nick
see
Nolte.
This is what I am admitting to, that I
Nick
did
Nolte's
it in
drunker brother?
proper
Yeah, he looks like
check
Nick
of that
Nolte's
firearm.
mugshot.
Yeah. If
And
that's
so after you admittedly doing a proper check of the firearm, isn't it true that you handed that firearm to Mr. Baldwin?
It's not true.
Do you know that your account conflicts with Mr. Baldwin's?
I am aware of that.
And do you know that it conflicts with Miss Gutierrez Reed?
I am aware of that, but however, in Mr. Baldwin's initial statement with Detective Hancock, a few hours after the incident on October 21st, when asked the question, who handed him the gun, he said Hannah did, like she always did.
Ooh. And after that, he
shots fired.
Said,
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, by the way,
right after
for a second, it's in this testimony that he keeps using careful wording.
Yeah.
And so he's like, so they were setting up the what's the word? Shot?
Fire? Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then the lawyers, for the rest of the time, they keep trying to think of other words for things that sound like gun or shot.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre.
They have to.
It happened. Do you remember you were standing outside with Mr. Baldwin talking with him, kind of near a truck?
Yes, I do.
Do you recall what you all were talking about? Were you talking about the events and kind of how this could have happened? And
yeah, yes.
So you were kind of discussing and kind of trying to remember with each other what had occurred. Is that fair?
Most of the discussion was what was it that entered their bodies?
Okay.
And
I'd like to add that it's important to keep in mind that he took a plea deal.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, so he's not charged with anything.
Wow.
And he can't get in trouble during this testimony as long as he tells the truth.
Mm.
So he said that he just wants to make sure this never happens again. And he did admit to negligence.
Wow.
That he should have done a better job of checking the gun.
Yeah.
You think?
But that's not even his job.
Well, the thing is, what I'm learning from this trial is that they all were juggling different hats.
Exactly. And that's
no.
That's a big no-no, and it's
a recipe for disaster.
A recipe for disaster, but it's also by design of a cheap production.
Right.
People who don't want to spend money on actual services that are rendered by singular people. So they would say, they tell Dave Hall he was the first assistant director, which is its own job, and then also safety coordinator on set, which is another job. And when you combine both of those things, it's very difficult to make sure you check all the boxes.
Right. But one thing I learned also, though, is that if the safety coordinator is not there, or the prop master, or the gun expert, that the armorer, if they're not around, then the responsibility does go to the AD.
Oh.
So he is actually in charge of
Climbing up
safety.
the chart.
So that, I'm just saying.
Wow.
That is part of his job, actually.
That was your job.
Right.
It was your job, not my job.
I'm innocent.
I'm innocent. She was
my
my friend.
My wife is from Spain.
My wife is from Spain, definitely from Spain.
I think to a person that was sequestered, that was that was the tone of the discussion. And certainly the discussions that I had with Mr. Baldwin, we were both, was it a blank? Was it just that idea of a live round again?
Yeah, clearly not a blank.
So it was just uncomputable.
In their defense at that point, John Eric Hexum, piece of paper, Brandon Lee,
dummy.
Yeah, dummy round.
Dummy round, not him.
Yeah, it's not about him at all.
I'm talking about the remake.
Yeah.
The dummies making the remake.
Hey, it might be good. We'll see. I'm going to see
Did you see the picture?
Yeah. I
Come
didn't
on.
mind it.
That's ridiculous.
One picture's all it takes for you.
It looked like It Part 3.
Yeah, the assistant director was in the bathroom the whole time. Tifflish throwing in inside jokes from the podcast.
And that's actually true. Where was it him? Someone actually was in the. Oh no! It sounds like a joke. No, at one point the prop master was doing something, and they're like, "Oh, why were you doing that? Isn't that Hannah's job?" And she was like, "Oh, Hannah was in the bathroom.
She was taking a massive turd."
And her turd is purple and green too,
Yeah,
like her hair.
Oh god, that was actually the charge that sent the firearm off. Yeah, it was explosive. All right, let's see what.
But inconceivable that there would be a live round on set.
Yes,
and in fact,
well, you should have checked.
I mean, did you ever dream that there would be a live round? And you're thinking, talking to Mr. Baldwin, did you have any thought of that?
Honestly, no.
Okay. Yeah. Now, after you all talked, Mr. Baldwin, did you talk with him again after the shooting and after that day, the 21st?
No.
Okay. If at the moment that this had happened, I know you indicate that Ms. Gutierrez-Reed gave him the firearm, but if you had provided him the firearm, which you're denying, I know, you're saying that didn't happen. If that had happened and Ms. Gutierrez-Reed were not in the church at that moment, that would have been your responsibility under the safety bulletin to ensure a safe operation, right?
Wow.
That's what I was saying.
Can you state that again? Clarify.
That was pretty long. Under the safety bulletin, if the property master and armor are not present during a gun scene, and you are the person there, do you agree with me that the responsibility would then fall on the first assistant director in a general scene for safety?
I don't recall seeing any language about the assistant director taking responsibility for the firearm if there was.
Oh, a little pushback
Yeah.
on your theory here.
Oh, well, he can say what he wants, but
he's going to tell the truth.
Well, no, his truth. There's a difference.
That is,
his truth versus the truth.
That is very different.
What I'm coming to find are a couple of things. First of all, if I'm ever in court and on the stand, all I have to say is, I don't recall.
Oh, absolutely.
That's easy.
Yeah. It's the easiest response for anything.
And second, these flim-flam experts.
Flim-flam.
These professionals in the industry.
Yeah.
They all give their resume at the beginning, saying, "Oh, I've done 20 years of films. Boy, I can't even recall how many times I've been on a set with an armorer. Probably 15.
Yeah.
They're so experienced, yet suddenly they're dumb about everything else. Yeah, they're asking them questions like, "Isn't it your responsibility to do this?" "Oh, I don't think so.
I don't recall any
Just
language."
so stupid.
Yeah. So he admits to being negligent, but he also admits that, well, he doesn't admit, he defends himself saying he doesn't recall any language in his contract or the safety bulletins that he would actually be responsible. But he also said he was negligent. So
He takes some responsibility.
both sides of the mouth there a little bit.
And vehemently denies handing the gun to Alec.
Yes, exactly. And now we have another person.
This piece of work.
She, we feel a certain way about what she says on the stand. She is the prop master. So she also has a hand in the guns that are being handled on set. But whoa, hands off, buddy. This has nothing to do with me.
Sarah Zachary.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about her role is that she actually then became an assistant armorer to Hannah Gutierrez.
Yeah.
But then Hannah became an assistant prop master to her.
Yep.
This is how convoluted that set was.
When cheap sets talk, pretty much. This is like, if the set could talk, it is saying we are all cheap. We are running and gunning here, for lack of a better term again.
And this is the crew member that accidentally discharged a gun on another day.
Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's basically all she said. Oops, I did it again. And
I played with this gun.
I'm not that innocent. But she is protected like Dave Halls. You want to know why?
Why is that?
Because she took a plea deal as well.
Ooh, pleading out.
So as long as she tells her truth on the stand, she's not going to be criminally charged.
Tell your truth.
All right, so let's see what she has to say.
And you also testified that you had some armor duties, correct?
Correct.
You said, dude.
And so you were in that role assisting Miss Gutierrez-Reed, right?
Correct.
And as part of that, you loaded and unloaded guns on the set?
Correct.
Now, you were trained, I think you said, by Seth Kenny on a prior film?
Yes.
How much training did you receive from Seth Kenny?
3 seconds.
I had maybe 10 days to prep for that set. So within that amount of time, when I would meet him, he would show me how to work with the guns and ammo.
Wow. And this guy provided props for Rust.
A week and a half.
Yeah, and in another testimony, this isn't even her first time on the stand, she said that Hannah taught her for 10 minutes how to be an armorer.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched YouTube videos of cats doing funny stuff that are longer than that.
So did you feel proficient, very good in working with guns and ammo?
In what I was using, yes.
Were you, I think you've said in the past, and you can tell me if you disagree, that you were not able to tell a dummy round from a live round?
Dummy?
I don't recall saying that.
Now, yesterday you testified that you weren't familiar with the single action revolver. Is that right?
Pongo and Shannon saying, his head's so shiny. I was watching this yesterday, and my girlfriend was like, his head looks like it's going to explode.
He's pretty good, though.
He is.
I didn't say, are you talking about when I entered or started Rust?
Yes.
Yes.
And so, as we sit here today, do you know the difference between a single action and a double action?
Yes, now I do.
Okay. And
Double action does 2 times.
Well, what we were using on Rust, between the two, it involves how you load them and unload them, from my understanding.
The difference in functional characteristics between a single
they
action
hired.
and a double action?
So with the single action revolver, I believe that's what we were working on with Rust. That was with cocking the hammer back and the trigger at the same time to load and unload the cylinder. Whereas with the double action, that the cylinder flips out.
The cylinder flips out.
Sorry, the cylinder comes out on the side to load the revolver and closes back.
Before Rust, had you worked with a single action type revolver?
No.
So on the prior set with Mr. Kenny, he had just shown you a double action?
Yes.
Okay. So with yourself and Miss Gutierrez-Reed, you also had Nicole Montoya helping, is that right?
Correct.
And Nicole Montoya was also a props assistant, is that right?
Yes.
Now, I think you said yesterday that you knew that there was going to be an armor and an armor's assistant. Did you say that?
I knew that Hannah was going to act as both.
Okay. Was it your understanding that on this film that there was supposed to be an armor and an armor's assistant at first?
Yes.
Okay. Now, with regard to your armor duty,
Sarah later goes into how she wanted to fire Gutierrez from props so that she could focus on her armorer duties. And there are some text messages that I revealed from Sarah Zachary, where she states that she believes Hannah should face jail time.
Ooh.
So she's pretty much throwing her on the subway track.
Is this where it's coming up?
No, I'm not sure exactly the
okay.
spot. I'm just kind of summing up here.
Yeah. So she does go on to say, I hope she's put in jail right in front of Hannah during that trial.
Yeah. Well,
or the witness account. I don't
we'll
know what
cut that drop.
Yeah.
For next time.
Yeah.
But it was akin to Sam Jackson in A Time to Kill.
I hope she burns in hell.
I hope she goes to jail.
Next on the docket, we have the director, Joel Souza, who looks very stressed out.
He looks like he's a cartoon character.
He really does. Looks like Hank Azaria's less successful brother who can't do any voices, not even his own.
Azaria on the spectrum.
Yeah, here we go.
He looks like Jimmy Neutron's dad.
If he was an alcoholic.
But I've been curious about Joel Souza since the beginning.
Yeah.
Haven't you?
Yeah.
Like, what's this guy's deal? Like, I want to hear what he has to say. Like, what the hell? Like,
it's very important because if people don't know, he was also shot during that shoot.
Yeah, and this is actually the part where he talks about that.
Yeah.
Like, he had done a previous movie, apparently, that was supposed to star Baldwin.
Mm-hmm.
And then Baldwin couldn't do it anymore. So then he felt like he missed out on something. So then he tells Joel, I think you should do a Western next, and I'll star in it. So then he kind of tells him to write a script that's based, on old Western stories.
Oh, this poor guy. I mean, he looks so stressed. I'm sure
Yeah.
everything that's happened since this movie has just gotten to him.
So Joel writes the script, and then they shoot in New Mexico because of the tax incentives. That's why Breaking Bad was shot there too.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be California.
Yeah. Shannon's asking, are they going to show Alec Baldwin on the stand? I don't think he's going to be on the stand for this trial.
He gets his own trial.
He gets his own trial, and by that time, that's coming up in July, we will be live streaming that every single day.
You won't be able to miss us.
So Tifflish is saying, if Alec testifies, I'll definitely watch it. If he does, and we see that coming up on the docket, we will live stream that for this trial. I don't think it's going to happen because he's already involved in his own trial. But yes, we will absolutely be live streaming all of Alec's trial because she was my friend.
And last thing about Souza is, as he described, it was a great set, and everyone was having a good time. He had the best of the best, and he really admired Helena Hutchins' work, and he was choosing between her and 3 other women, as he put it.
Yeah.
So he really wanted a woman DP, I guess. And then, that's good, right?
Yeah.
But then he
Nice.
says something strange. He goes, the part where he's talking about why the people walked off the set, he acts like it was no big deal.
Which, that is saving his own ass.
He's like, I actually left on good terms with all of them. At the end of the day, I said goodbye, and I hope to work with you again.
Yeah, I kicked him out the fucking door.
And sometimes this is classic stuff on film sets, like disagreements over money. So that's the only part I call BS on.
Sometimes people get shot. It's all normal.
Yeah, he's a little too giddy about
Blasé.
Yeah, blasé and giddy.
Yeah.
So, at any point in time, did you see Ms. Gutierrez enter the church with the firearm?
No, it wasn't. I wasn't aware of her coming in or leaving or anything. There's just, the church was, there's an enormous amount going on. A million voices, it feels like. The special effects guys are rigging things up in the roof for debris for later on. When the shooting starts, there'll be debris falling down, and there are people working the lights. There are people moving the cameras. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, there's people doing different things. We get that.
Yeah.
He's trying to make it seem much more complicated than it really is.
And when he said shooting there, did he mean the gunfire in the scene or the actual shot?
Yeah, into your chest or something else.
And so I didn't really register that.
Do you have any idea who provided Mr. Baldwin his revolver for the scene?
No, I mean, just beyond in a general sense about who's supposed to hand it off. But no, I didn't see anybody give it to him.
Okay. At some point, does Mr. Baldwin get his revolver?
I mean, he clearly had it. The interesting
was
thing, I
shot.
never saw him with it. I mean, he clearly had it because of what happened. But when I went in to look at to see what was going on with the camera angle, I remember there's sort of a big group kind of hovered around where he would be. He would be sitting in the pew. I just couldn't see him. I'm not the tallest guy in the world. And so
That's always good when the director can't see what's going on in the shot.
That's what's most astounding during this trial. Everyone that has their job to do has no idea what their job entails or how to do it. It's really remarkable.
Yeah. I didn't get to see what was going on in the movie I was directing.
I'm just the director.
I'm just a little guy.
How am I supposed to know what's going on?
I'm low man on the pole.
They also asked about like weapons training and his familiarity with guns. And he said, I really don't know anything about guns and don't use them in my real life, except that he wrote a screenplay that takes place in the Wild West with lots of guns. Surely he did a little research on guns.
Wait, did Joel write this?
Yes.
Or are we talking about Alec Baldwin?
No, I don't know if I was making any sense just before, but Alec Baldwin wanted to work with Joel.
I thought you said Joel told him, like,
No.
you come up with a story.
No, Alec Baldwin came up with the story and said, Joel, you write this, and then I'll star in it. And so Joel wrote the screenplay.
No way.
Yes.
I gotta look this up to double check.
And then
this.
it's a story by credit to Alec Baldwin.
No.
Yes. Yep.
Get out of
And
town.
it's pretty hack because Alec Baldwin's last name is Rust. His character is named Rust.
Oh my God.
The hackiest thing since Good Will Hunting.
All right, Rust.
In my parody, he's going to be Mold.
It is written by Joel Souza. I don't know why I felt the need to double check that.
You really didn't believe me.
Because the first way you phrased it, it sounded like he made Alec Baldwin go get the story and come back to him.
No, Baldwin got the leash out and said, you do this now.
Let's ask the viewers if they thought the same thing I thought.
Oh, who cares?
But Rust, yeah, a boy left to fend for himself and his younger brother following their parents' deaths in the 1880s. Kansas goes on the run with his long-estranged grandfather after he's sentenced to hang for the accidental killing of a local rancher. How weird!
Yeah.
The accidental killing of a cinematographer.
And earlier in the testimony, he details the scene in which the young boy accidentally kills someone with a gun. And he's like, on that one, though, we didn't need an armorer because we decided we were going to add CGI because he's a minor.
Wow.
And another part about his testimony that didn't sit right with me is every time he describes anything that required him to go over the plot in any detail, oh boy, does he turn into a storyteller.
Oh, wow.
He's like, forgive me if I give a little too much detail, but in this scene, Alec's character
shut up
is at his wit's end and he's hiding in the church and it's about to be revealed that maybe he's not as injured as you think he is.
Wow.
Stay tuned for Rust.
Wow. Yeah, Alec Baldwin's character's name is Harland Rust. I'd rather Harlan Williams. You gonna shoot this Pico?
Yeah, what? I mean, come on.
All right, let's see what Joel has to say for himself.
All right.
What I wanted to do was get up behind Helena to try to sneak a look over her. There's a little tiny monitor on the side of the camera to at least see that.
I want to get a little peek of my own movie.
His eyebrows are in his way.
Yeah.
To see what it was looking like, but I never even got a look at that.
Okay, so explain to us when you're going into the church and why and what you do and what happens.
So I went inside again to try to see what the angle was. There were a lot of voices. I heard Alec's voice. I heard Helena's voice. everyone's sort of talking at once.
I heard voices that were near me. Can you believe it?
I don't.
Alec barking at him.
I don't have a clear memory of how long I was standing behind her.
He's like, my wife is from Spain. My wife is from Spain.
I know
I say it
got
if it makes
behind her
sense.
just to try to see on the monitor. And there was an incredibly loud bang that was not like the half and quarter loads you hear on a set. Those are sort of
The half and quarter loads at the pump and dump in Wisconsin.
The half and quarter
they're
load.
loud poofs and pops.
And Baldwin
This is
pumped into
definitely-
Eladia.
And
to create Romeo.
It felt like somebody
Romeo,
taking a baseball
who looks
bat
like
to
an
my shoulder. I
albino.
remember that distinctly. And sort of stumbling back and shouting. I don't remember exactly what I said.
Al was probably one of.
Were you able
things
to
said.
see Ms. Hutchins at that time?
I did. I remember sort of stumbling back, and I either fell to my knees or I was sitting. And I distinctly remember her being lowered to the ground. People had her sort of by either side. And I still didn't quite know what had happened. Nothing made sense.
If he started talking,
I
in
remember
directing
initially
terms.
thinking,
I saw a medium shot of Helena in front of me. Then I saw a close up on Baldwin's trigger finger.
I was shot stage left in the chest.
she'd been
Fade out.
startled by it. And they were sitting her down as a result. And then I saw the blood on her back.
And to the best of your recollection, what happened after that?
It got
very
chaotic. I remember them laying me down. I remember them laying her down next to me. Although we were sort of facing in opposite directions. My head was this way, her head was that way. I remember a lot of panic. I still just couldn't figure out what had happened. I thought, was there something that had been stuck in the barrel that came out? But just nothing made sense.
Yeah, he went into full shock. And
as you would.
Yeah.
Because you expect that everyone else, even on a cheap set, I bet just everything else went pretty smoothly for him throughout his career. But he expects people to do their jobs. And as he says over and over and over, it was inconceivable that there was a bullet in that gun.
Yeah, and poor guy. Like, I know we're giving him some shit, but also he is under the fucking dictatorship rule of Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, let's not lose sight of who the real director was. on set.
Exactly. That's why, like, we're joking about him saying, "Oh, I couldn't really see the shot." I mean, that's also by design that Alec was in charge of that set.
Yeah,
and he's responsible for everything that goes on, including making this guy feel half his height and showing him like, I'm the fucking guy on this set and you don't even need to see this shot because I'm testing it out and Helena's looking at it.
Yeah.
So step back. I got this.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's really the name of the game with this whole set and this whole trial. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens because, like we said on last week's live, I think they can probably successfully argue that she wasn't able to do her job because Alec was so controlling.
Yeah, I'm, jury's still out. I'm using the term.
Literally.
Yeah. But I starting to wonder how much it was Hannah's fault entirely.
Yeah. As we move on to the next witness, we got a couple left. This is our main story today, so we're covering it pretty extensively.
Is it true that you...
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have said a lot of things. This is the medic on set. She gets the screws turned on her because obviously the other side knows that she's suing the production company for PTSD after the shooting. And here we go.
You have filed a lawsuit against David Hall's PDQ, Seth Kinney, and Sarah Zachary, and Hannah Gutierrez?
Yes, it is true.
Among others, right?
Correct.
And in that lawsuit, you claim that you've been traumatized by the incident, right?
Absolutely.
And you are actually seeking money damages in that lawsuit for extreme emotional distress.
That is correct.
Did you in fact obtain a civil judgment against Sarah Zachary in that lawsuit for a sum of money?
It has been entered into judgment, yes.
And your case against Ms. Gutierrez, that's still pending, right?
That is correct.
So this is like in Goodfellas, the Lufthansa heist, when they all are doing this thing, they're all working together, and then when it all goes south, they start killing each other.
Basically.
So this entire set roster is just cannibalizing itself. This woman who worked as a medic is suing Hannah, Alec, the production company, everybody for PTSD for having to witness this horrific shooting. But I know people are torn on this because a lot of people think, hey, you're a medic, you should be ready for this kind of shit. This should not be PTSD inducing.
I mean, it's what she has to say because there's a lawsuit.
Yeah.
But come on. She's been around a lot of situations, seen a lot of things.
Maybe, maybe not.
Okay.
We don't know. Let's hear what she has to say.
Do you believe that your testimony here today is going to help you in your civil case against her?
I'm not here for my civil case. I'm here for this case.
I understand what you're here for, ma'am, but do you believe that your testimony here is going to help you in that case?
I'm not thinking about that case. I'm thinking about the fact that had our armorer or our first AD done their jobs,
ooh,
we would not be here. A woman would not be dead.
I mean, part of what she's saying might actually hurt her case in the civil suit because she goes, I'm not thinking about that today. So if it's that easy to get out of your head, why are you suing for so much PTSD? Because that's something that doesn't stop.
And I hate to say it, but she doesn't seem that traumatized.
No.
It's not, it's not like she's like, hold on. Like she's not playing it up at all.
To be fair, PTSD isn't something that happens 100% of the time during the day.
Fine.
And there's flashbacks and nightmares that come along with it. So I can see how she might be actually traumatized.
But wait, look, let me clarify. I would be traumatized if I was in her shoes on that set.
Sure.
But all I'm saying is it'll be interesting to see her civil trial. Because if in the civil trial, she's like, oh my God.
Exactly. That's why these differing witness dispositions and depositions, how they
and positions.
Hey, how they act and react to certain things in different environments is going to be very interesting to see.
Yeah.
A mother would not be gone.
And you filed a civil lawsuit over this?
Yes.
For your damages?
Correct.
To get money?
Yeah, I was underpaid.
Not for money. It's not how it started.
And you, ma'am, are an EMT.
I don't mean this
basic or
way, but doesn't she sort of look like Linda Hamilton and Edward Furlong from Terminator 2 morphed?
Had a step baby, even though they were mother and son. Jesus.
All right, anyway, keep going.
Get it together.
Kyle, can we
what is your EMT?
not lose focus, please?
Yes.
EMT.
Right.
There was an EMT, there's EMT advanced or advanced EMT, and there's paramedic.
And you do have a
Looks
certification, right?
Yes, I do.
Jennifer
Are you
Jason
licensed through this?
Lee, if she was stuck, never mind.
All
New
right.
Mexico?
I am, and the state of California, as well as National Registry.
In fact, you also have medical experience working at a hospital for almost 3 years.
That
right?
is correct.
And that was in an overflow unit for the emergency room? We need to approach.
Oh, they're calling objection.
Also, to be fair, overflow for an emergency room is like the least injured people. So maybe she
Okay.
really wasn't used to seeing, because they immediately admit people who are dying and are
Yeah.
coming in with their heads blown off.
She looks like Tina Yothers.
Overflowers, like people that's like, my arm stings because I think I have a bug bite, and they just want attention.
All right, you know what? I take back everything I said.
Yeah, how dare you?
All right, so let's go to this last one we have here is the best.
Yes, this woman, I cannot find myself in any way to side with on multiple levels, and I'll explain why while we watch this.
Okay.
I was employed as Key Craft Services.
Was that on the set of Rust?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you explain to the jury what Key Craft Services does?
I can tell you what Key Craft Services does. They make the food on set. That's it.
Oh, come on.
That's it. She really thinks of herself in a very high regard. As you can see in the next few seconds, she's going to say, I'm like the set mother. No, you're not. You make the macaroni and cheese, and then you move on.
And one thing to keep in mind is the way she describes her duties. I shit you not. It sounds identical to the way the medic lady that we just heard, the way she described her duties.
Yeah.
Making sure everyone's hydrated and so on.
Gustav is asking, they're calling BS on her PTSD claims.
Well, yeah, the lawyers, some of the lawyers.
The lawyers have to make that case.
I think they're wondering why her, of all people, would be suing for the trauma she's facing when obviously there's Joel Souza, who was shot.
Yeah.
You know, the victim's family, even Baldwin.
Yeah, they're calling bullshit because she's a medical professional that's dealt with injuries that are probably have exceeded what happened on the set of Rust. So they're saying you've seen it once, you've seen it twice, you've probably seen it every day, and then all of a sudden, when a millionaire comes into town and is responsible for this horrific thing happening, you're gonna sue for money.
And she saw way crazier shit on the battlefield in Judgment Day.
Oh, God. Shannon also calling out, why do they all have enormous foreheads?
I know, I kept thinking when Joel Souza was saying, it was inconceivable. I was shocked that there was a bullet in the gun. I kept wanting him to be like, look at me. I was shocked.
They were all conceived in a drive-in movie theater. Heads the size of the screen. Okay.
Here we
Moving
go.
on. Point taken, though. It is pretty much true that there's a lot of forehead going on in this case.
A lot of real estate above the eyebrows.
Yeah. A lot of 5 heads. 6 heads, if you will. All right. So let's listen to this lady who thinks she's the onset mother.
Key Craft Services is basically a set mom. I show up and make sure that coffee is ready for everybody, that everybody has snacks and hydration. If they run out of sunscreen.
Snacks and hydration. You make the food. That's it. And you bring soda and water. Sunscreen too. That's going above and beyond. Okay. So I will give her that she takes her job very seriously.
That is also bleeding into the medic's responsibilities.
Yeah. I mean, that is just, yeah, they should just have that stuff on set. It doesn't need to be a craft services.
How many ways, though, can you describe just giving people food and water? I keep them hydrated. I make sure their electrolyte levels are appropriate.
I'm the set mother.
They come to me if they need a hug, shoulder to cry on. If they've been shot.
Yeah, I put them in timeout. All right, moving on.
They run out of chapstick. They come to me.
Chapstick.
You got any of that cherry flavored?
What hotel were you staying at when you were working on the set of Rust?
The Inn at Santa Fe.
And was Ms. Gutierrez also staying there?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let's look up the Inn at Santa Fe because it can't be nice.
Can you imagine the accommodations that were offered on this set?
Look at this. All right, let's share this screen.
Oh, no.
The Inn at Santa Fe.
How many stars?
$80 per night, baby.
You gotta be kidding me.
You gotta be kidding me.
I'm cheap when it comes to myself, and I wouldn't even spend that little.
It's actually $64 tonight. You want to book a room?
Oh, yeah, on Hotwire.
Yeah.
$50.
Yeah, that is pretty brutal.
Were they sharing rooms? Were they bunking together?
They were not, and we will find out exactly what happened while they were both going back to their respective rooms. There is a hot tub.
Okay.
Doesn't
look very appetizing.
A little tiki fence here. Yeah, they have double beds. They could have shared the same room if Alec really wanted to cut down, but it's the onset mother, so she gets her own bed.
It's not the worst room I've ever seen.
Nope, and there's a sauna in that back corner. Look at that.
Ooh.
Wow.
Sweat out some of the stress from set.
Not pictured the black mold all over this bathroom area.
Not pictured the contents of the toilet they forgot to flush.
Yeah. Oh, there's a little fire pit.
Oh, wow.
Very nice. And pool facing windows. So when the kids are there screaming, you want to blow your brains out.
Which would have been easy on the rust.
On the set of Rust. Oh, they get a little 4-table.
That's the continental breakfast.
That is actually the wedding venue. And you can only invite 16 people.
I imagine the continental breakfast was a muffin and an apple.
This is the breakfast area. There's
okay.
hot coffee. You got 2 little buffet stands here that they have probably very dry eggs and bacon.
That looks very much like they have a waffle station. I will give them that.
Yeah.
Because as long as there's a waffle station, everybody's happy.
Awful waffle.
Yeah.
There we go. Well, that's we get a little look. This is the boardroom.
Are you joking?
BORED.
How can you conduct any serious business meeting when there's a cow behind you?
Multiple cows.
And I'm
and
not
probably in front of you.
And I'm not talking about the crew members.
No. Okay. Back to the onset mother.
All right.
During the time that the two of you were both working on the set of Rust, did you get to know her?
Know her? No. I had a chance to sit with her once or twice, but not really get to know her.
Which that got to meet her once or twice and sit with her for like a few seconds. Doesn't really know her.
Meanwhile, in any other scenario, she would be like, oh my God, we're besties.
Yeah.
I loved working with her.
Yeah, to try to move up the food chain. Literally.
Okay.
She
Would
feeds
you
people.
say she was more of an acquaintance?
What are you thinking?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
No, that's what that was good.
And Ms. Smith, were you present at the hotel the evening of October 21st, 2021?
Day of the shooting?
Yes, ma'am.
And at some point that evening, did you go to Ms. Gutierrez's hotel room?
Yes.
And why did you do that?
Court and I forget what his name was, but the set steward were in her hotel room and needed to go to the store to get something and did not want to leave her alone. So they called me and asked me to come up to her room.
Okay. And did you do that?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you stay with Ms. Gutierrez for a little while?
Yes, ma'am.
The mother.
And then at some point, did you leave?
Yes.
Did anything unusual happen when you left Ms. Gutierrez's room?
Yes. She asked me if I could hold on to something for her. I said yes. She put it in my hand and I walked out as there was a knock on the door.
So she hands her this thing. She's like, of course, I will take whatever you're handing me in my hand and I will take it out of this room.
And not look at it first.
Yeah.
And after you left the room, did you look to see what she had placed in your hand?
Yes.
And can you describe, without making any assumptions about what it was,
No
can you
assumption.
just describe what you saw in your hand?
Yes. It was a clear Ziploc baggie with a green small Ziploc baggie inside. And there was powder inside the green baggie.
What color was the powder?
White.
If I want you to compare this to like a sugar packet that you
It
would.
was definitely not sugar.
No. I'm sorry. Let me get my question out. I want to have a discussion about how much was in the green
Okay.
part. and I want you to compare it to a sugar packet that you would open and put in coffee or tea.
Okay.
How many of those do you think it was?
Maybe 4 or 5.
Okay.
4 or 5 big sugar packets worth. One of the sugar packets that Alec Baldwin had autographed by someone saying, "Keep going, you're doing the Lord's work."
The Splenda.
The Splenda packet, yeah. That big. If you had 4 or 5 of those, you're talking like a very substantial amount of drugs.
She handed me milk flavored Kool-Aid.
Yeah. Oh shit. Shannon saying the lawyer looks like Charlize Theron playing Warnos.
Oh,
Eileen
boy.
Warnos, who is a serial killer. Kind of does. There's a lot going on with this trial. This is, one of the must-see trials of this year.
She looks like Eileen Warnos had sex with Kate Winslet from The Eternal Sunshine.
Oh my god. Wow. Yeah, there's a lot happening with this trial. But the amount of cocaine she's talking about is cartoonish.
Yeah.
We're talking hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of stuff.
Yeah.
Not that I've ever touched this stuff.
And she goes on to say
But that's how I know.
She used to be, we get it, that she is a longtime addict and recovering.
That's what she's about to say now.
And Ms. Smith, how old are you?
I'm 51.
And when you were a younger person, did you have an opportunity to use the drug cocaine?
If you were young.
Yes, ma'am. I'm a recovering addict.
Are you
Yes,
familiar
ma'am.
with what cocaine
I woke
looks
up.
like?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you
I
familiar
woke up on
with
the other
way
side of a lot of dogs in my day.
Woof.
With my
cocaine
nose
is
bleeding.
packaged? Based on that experience, what did you believe to be in the bag?
I believed it to be cocaine.
And what did you do with it?
I threw it in the hallway trash can before even going downstairs to my hotel room.
And why did you throw it in the hallway trash can?
Because it smelled
Because,
too
like
good.
I said, I am a recovering addict. I can't, first and foremost, have it in my possession. And second, I was really very offended, and I didn't want anything to do with the situation anymore.
Okay.
Mommy's
She was
mad.
offended. So she's acting like she was the only one that Hannah would have handed her the drugs and said, "Get rid of this," or "Hold on to it." Clearly, she went there and agreed to get rid of the drugs because she went out into the hallway and threw it away. I think she's freaking out more so because there were police officers that saw her do it.
Right.
Which we're getting into right now.
And also, I want to add that Sarah Zachary, the prop master who we just heard from earlier, she also tampered with evidence.
Yeah, she threw away bullets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're all throwing shit away to protect their asses.
It's a Lufthansa heist.
In what scenario would this ever go down like this, where Hannah perfectly passes her this little baggie of Coke, and then the craft service lady goes right by the entering officers?
Yeah.
And that's like a movie.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a movie set, but it ain't a movie.
That's right. They're ending. This is the ending scenes of Goodfellas when people are getting stabbed in the back of the head with picks.
Yeah.
They're all cannibalizing each other now.
After October 21st passes, did you receive any text message communications from Ms. Gutierrez?
Yes.
And,
7.
and generally speaking, what was the theme of those messages?
I want my stuff back.
Other than
What's funny
the
about that?
Nothing.
bag containing the green bag containing the white powder, other than that item, did you have anything else that belonged to Ms. Gutierrez?
No, ma'am.
I think Baldwin got to her.
Did you bring this information to the attention of law enforcement?
You will never make macaroni and cheese on any fucking set I ever work with ever again. I'll pretend I didn't want the cocaine.
You want to keep serving coffee in Hollywood?
You motherfucker.
Why not?
Coffees for
Like I
closers.
said, I didn't want to be involved in the situation if I didn't have to be.
Oh,
Okay.
protect your ass. Yeah.
And
She's
how
so
long after the incident do you think
she's
it
so
was
noble.
before?
You know what?
She's a noble mom because she could have talked to the police or handed over the coke since she was so morally offended.
Yeah.
Oh, but she doesn't want to get involved or escalate the situation. Bullshit.
Exactly. And it makes sense that actually Hannah would give her the drugs because she is a recovering addict, and they would never ask her if she has drugs on set. Or they would be less likely to be like, "Oh no, that she's already in like AA. She's not involved with any of this shit."
This is just, I don't know.
It's the onset mother.
Yeah, I don't know what is going on with
Someone reached out to you to talk to you about this.
I believe it was about September of 2023 when you contacted me about it.
And I personally called you?
Yes, ma'am. Texted, I believe it was.
Okay.
God.
And did you tell me on that day what you have testified to today?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll pass the witness.
Yeah, so he pretty much destroys her.
This is awesome.
Ms. Smith, good morning.
Good morning.
Now, ma'am, that night when you went to
It's like, don't mind my shiny head.
You were called over and Miss Gutierrez
It's like,
Reed
the
was
substance looked like the top of my head.
I'm sorry. I was just released from Uncle Fester's mouth, and I am still shining.
He's like, I used to do a little partying myself. My buddies used to do lines off my head.
You can see the residue in 3 places.
distraught, correct?
Yes.
Now, you were called over and there were, you could see she was visibly distraught, couldn't you?
Yes.
And didn't you say that you would stay with her that night and make sure she was okay?
I said I would stay with her for a little bit. Yeah.
His head's like Mark's thighs.
Yeah.
Very true. Incandescent.
Yes, until court and the steward came back.
Okay. And at the time you left, had they gotten back?
No.
So before they got back, despite your word earlier, you left.
Yes.
Did Miss Gutierrez Reed also go to your room that night?
No.
Oh.
No.
No.
Why do you
No,
ask?
your testimony is that
I don't
the
know.
last time you used cocaine was approximately 20 years old. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So that would have been, I think, 31 years ago.
That would have been 100 years
And
ago.
since then, thankfully, you've been clean. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
So you have not seen that substance in 31 years. That's fair to say?
No, that's not fair to say.
Oh, you've been around
I
it.
have seen it, just not used it.
Okay.
Ooh.
Now, you stated on direct examination
Every recovering
that you
addict
believed
loves
it to
to be
be
around drugs.
cocaine.
Yeah.
Yes.
And do you recall stating at one point that you said it could be cocaine or meth?
No.
I don't recall saying that. No.
Okay, do you recall at your pretrial interview being asked the question, what was in those baggies? Inside the snack baggie was the green baggie. Inside the green baggie was a white powdery substance, which I knew to be cocaine, or I mean, it could have been meth or something too.
It could have,
Okay.
but I don't believe that it was, nor did I state that I believed it was. I just said that it
Oh,
could be.
but did
And that
you?
was my question. I'm just
Could have been
asking if you
vanilla
said
malt
it could have
powder.
been meth too.
Correct.
Maybe it was
So,
gunpowder.
In reality,
You just admitted that
it could
you
have
did say it.
been a number of other white powders. Would you agree with that?
Sure.
Do you know what creatine looks like?
No.
Protein powder?
Yes.
I've
Because I
seen
work in
it.
past services.
Okay.
Oh, now she's
And we
she's
could go
reminding
through a
about
whole
her
list of items, but
expertise.
there's a lot of white powder sugar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that
Yes.
correct? Okay. So the reality is you have a belief, but you don't know for certain what was in that bag, do you?
Correct.
Now, that was never tested,
No.
and that was never provided to law enforcement.
No.
Sometimes
How long did you hold that?
I wish I would have been a lawyer.
Yeah.
How great would it be? Your job is just to go up there and all you have to do is basically talk logic. Like, so that substance could have been something else,
Yeah.
correct? And they're
Sure.
forced to tell you the truth.
Yeah, but you also cut through people's self-righteous bullshit,
Yeah.
which is what this woman is doing.
Because, creatine is laughable. I don't know what creatine looks like. Do you know what protein powder looks like? Sir, I'm a craft service professional.
I am a key craft service professional.
So then why wouldn't you know what creatine looks like?
Because she knows it gets cut into cocaine.
That baggie before you threw it in the trash.
I didn't make it all the way down the hallway.
So how many feet do you think that was that you walked?
I don't even know how many feet the hallway
This
is long. So,
Can you look at the courtroom and estimate, just telling us?
Possibly to the distance of the gentleman in the blue suit.
Okay, so
Like, hey, don't bring me into this.
So
Yeah.
would you
Hey!
agree with me that's about
Whoa!
20, 25 feet?
Sure.
Okay. So you walked 20, 25 feet, and were you looking at that bag the whole time, or were you having it down by your side?
At first, it was down by my side, and then I, of course, raised my hand to look.
Okay, now, weren't you walking past some police officers too?
Why would we assume that at this point?
Yeah.
She
Men
hasn't
in
looked at it
uniform?
yet.
Not
That's
sure
the
whether
first
they were
thing I
police
do when
officers.
someone hands me something.
Yeah.
Oh, what is this you're handing me? Oh, cool.
Oh.
I don't just be like, just hand it to me. I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
It's a scorpion, by
it's
the
a
way.
quarter pound of cocaine. Perfect.
It's acid. And I don't mean the drug. Your hand melts off.
Well, what do the uniforms look like?
They could have been armed security. I
Could have
did
been
not see an
Oompa Loompas.
actual badge, so I could not say for sure that they were police. They were men in uniform.
I was
in
aroused.
either security or police.
Well, do you recall being asked the question, why didn't you just hand it back to her? And you said, because I didn't want to do anything in front of the police.
Gotcha.
On page 19 of your interview?
Yes.
So at that time at your interview, you indicated they were police.
I indicated that I believed that they were police. Yes.
No, you didn't say believe.
Oh,
you said, because I didn't want to do anything in front of the police.
Boom roasted. Boom roasted.
So were they police or not?
I don't know.
Mommy's in trouble.
So you walk down 25 feet, you look up at it, and then you throw it in the trash. Is that right?
I looked at it and then waited for the trash can, of course. I didn't throw it on the floor or anything, so I didn't have to wait for the trash can to be there.
Sure. So you, in fairness, you probably had 5 seconds to look at this bag. Is that about right?
Yes.
So you had a 5-second glance through a white baggie and a green baggie, and you then based your conclusion on that. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, you also said
Going like,
that
she
you
knows
thought
she's
this was
getting
about
buried.
4 to 5 sugar packets.
Correct.
Okay. Well, do you recall previously stating that you didn't know what the weight was?
Correct.
And do you recall indicating that it could be a couple of pounds?
Sound effects when Hannah's scratching her head. Like,
Okay. Well, do you recall being asked a question? So you have no experience with weight, and you testify, well, I don't know what it weighed. I mean, could be an 8-ball, but I don't even know what an 8-ball weighs. So, I mean, that's like asking me how much this weighs. I don't know. It's a couple of pounds. You want to see this?
No, I don't need to see it. What I was referring to was a body armor that I'd already opened and taken a couple of drinks of, and I held it up and said, I don't know what this weighs. Maybe a pound or 2. That was in reference to the body armor, not to the baggies.
Okay, well, in reality, in a 5-second glance, would you agree with me? You have no idea what the weight was.
Correct.
Okay. And you really, other than your guess, you have no idea for certain what was in that bag.
Correct.
Shannon's on fire. She's saying it's crazy that Hannah is the most normal looking person in the entire trial so far.
Oh my god, yeah, she's the hottie.
Yeah.
The rest are the naughties.
So that woman was absolutely destroyed.
Yeah.
On cross examination there.
It's just funny because she comes on so excited to get her moment.
Yeah,
She's
exactly.
ready for her close up.
Oh, she's got that stick up her ass, ready to fucking go.
I'm the mommy.
I'm the onset mom.
And then suddenly I hardly knew her.
Yeah, I met her once or twice, and then she handed me 2 pounds of drugs.
What kind of mom is that?
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and say not reliable.
And then to end this Rust segment, I think this is great. After we've heard all that, why don't we see the maniac in action?
Yeah, let's do it.
So there's been a lot of talk of Alec Baldwin's behavior on set, and this footage is fascinating because it's our first glimpse of moving footage from the Rust movie.
Yes.
And you really see how nuts Alec Baldwin is.
Yeah, and he looks so unnatural in a Western.
Unnatural and insane. You would not want that man to have a gun.
No.
Like, watch any of his paparazzi freakouts and then imagine throwing a revolver to him.
Yeah, but let's be real. Like, Clint Eastwood with a gun looks cool. Sylvester Stallone with a gun looks cool. Looks natural. Looks like they're supposed to be doing it because they figured out how to do it. We'll just see what Alec looks like.
Set, ready, and action.
Got you.
No, just yeah. When you drop your arm, that means he's 10 feet away. I can't see how close he is, but I want to be almost up by the time he gets here. No, I'm going to go into this. Yeah. Well, let me show you something. Hold on. Step back to your original mark.
Step back.
So 1,000, 1,000, 3, I'm getting up. Right. Then when he drops his arm, Helena get out. He drops his arm. That means Brady's close. I'm going to start to really get up. Okay.
And he's pointing with the gun.
One more. I forgot the recoil stuff. No, right away. Let's reload. Here we go.
I'm reloaded.
Right away, Hannah's running.
Listen.
Oh my God.
Cut.
Go!
Boom. That's huge.
Three, two, one. There you go.
That moment might give him jail time, I think.
She was absolutely
fire.
And she was holding the shotgun upside down, but I think, honestly, I mean, on paper, Hannah should go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing a way that she doesn't get in trouble at all.
Yeah.
Because of that one shot after cut. And also saying, reload right away, right now.
Let's go. Let's do another one.
Panicked, running towards him to try to get him to reload.
Am I nuts? Or is it usually the director that is saying stuff like that? Let's go again. Keep rolling. Alec Baldwin is doing all the work. Like, how could anyone else do their job correctly with that maniac?
You can't. There's absolutely no way. Let's see the last of this. Oh, that was it.
That was compelling, Kyle.
Very compelling.
There's a jump scare at the end.
Yeah. My way was so plain.
It's that medic lady.
Yeah. On set, mother. Slimer.
Wow, that was great.
Yeah.
We are up to date with Rust.
We are. Styles makes fights. Given the reality of Styles make fights. Okay, wow, we got there. Given the reality of what Alec Baldwin's life has become, the Getaway movie cover sums it up so perfectly.
Oh, can we open that up?
Yes.
Let's find that. I know what he's talking about. The Getaway, that was a movie with him and his then wife, Kim Basinger.
Ooh.
Where they're like a couple of outlaws.
Oh. Let's see this.
Oh.
Dun, dun, dun. My wife is from Spain.
That couldn't be more perfect.
Yeah.
You just needed Ladia behind him.
how you pronounce jail time?
And the guy with the sunglasses below, that's Romeo.
Yeah.
Their son.
And Alec Baldwin, let us not forget, he has blocked Death and Entertainment on Instagram and myself on Instagram for making jokes about his wife.
Hey, I mean, it's all in good fun.
Yeah, he can't handle the heat.
It's all in good fun until someone gets killed.
Yeah, exactly. And friend of the show, James Woods, is in that movie as well. He's the guy with the glasses in the lower third on the bottom right.
I've said it before. I have encountered him at the Commerce Casino and at the Rio in Vegas, and we share a birthday.
There you go. Yeah, so this is, still pending.
Oh,
We'll
boy.
see. But that is the look of a killer right there.
He looks a little more natural there, but
Yeah.
not much.
I cannot wait for his trial. I think Hannah really might get off on this because of the absolute intimidation.
Oh, get off. Like,
yeah, not like get off.
not like Alec is in that footage.
Yeah.
He's the only one having a good time in that footage.
Yeah.
Like, oh, let's roll again. Do it.
Immediately.
We'll do it live. Fuck it.
Yeah. And a person who's that young, trying to make a good impression on set is just at the will of whoever's in charge. And clearly it wasn't Joel. Clearly it wasn't Helena Hutchins. It wasn't what was it, Dave Hill?
Yeah, Dave Hill.
It clearly wasn't any of them.
Oh, Dave Halls.
Dave Halls. It clearly was not them. It was obviously Alec Baldwin. So I think she might actually get away with this. Not to say that there's anything to get away with, but she might get out of jail time and her responsibility for this tragedy because Alec was such a fucking controlling lunatic on set.
At the very worst, I think that Dave and Hannah share the responsibility with Alec, and he takes more of it.
Yeah. He has to. He's the financier of the movie, the person that the whole entire production, was around.
If it's a pie, he's taking most of that pie. And
yeah.
It's a couple of little slices for Hannah.
But you can't
and
even
Dave.
see them. It just looks like a black, tiny little line.
Like if you're on a diet, the kind of slice you would cut for yourself.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah, that's the main story of the day. That is Alec Baldwin in the story of Rust. And the trial continues for I don't know how long. A lot of trials usually go between 3 and 6 weeks. We'll see. I haven't looked at the official docket to see when they're supposed to be wrapped up, but
the prosecution, I believe, has wrapped up.
Oh, they already rested.
Yeah.
Or rusted.
Rusted.
We'll get back to you on that. Here comes the next story. It is a very troubling story, if true.
Oh, more than Rust.
Way more than Rust. It is, I don't know if you've heard about this, people at home, but Britney Spears may not be alive or free.
This is pretty intriguing.
Yeah, there's a conspiracy theory out there that Britney Spears is either dead or captured. And
a la Avril Lavigne.
Yes.
She was supposedly replaced by a clone named Melissa.
Yeah.
And Britney, they're saying, has a similar clone or doppelganger.
Right. That they're putting out there. So they're saying, all these Instagram videos she's been coming out with where she's got the knives and dancing and doing whatever else.
And that she's not as good a dancer as she used to be.
Right. Posing for pictures with her fiance, who is now her ex, I believe. When they got close together, her body started fading into his like there was a green screen. It sounds insane, but the more I've looked into it, the more I actually think there might be something to this.
And Paris Hilton might be in on it because she recently posted a picture where half of Britney's necklace disappears into her neck.
Yes.
And it's obviously photoshopped.
And Paris Hilton has a reason for that.
Oh.
Let's get into it.
They reckon they're running a true crime podcast.
Yes.
And they're going, waiting for it to unfold. But the thing is, most most of our lives don't involve true crime. And so I don't think that's what's happening.
Okay. Speak for yourself, though, because I think that you have a conspiracy theory about the conspiracy theories.
Well, that's what the world needs. Is more conspiracy theories.
What's the conspiracy theory about the conspiracy theory?
Well, now that you ask, I'll tell you. Basically, what I think is that what they've done with the... it's very, very complicated. It's very, very complicated.
You don't believe it, Jesse.
Yeah,
I absolutely believe it. But what happens with conspiracy
We'll just watch
theories
their recap.
is that
Go
she
from the
has a
beginning.
memoir coming out
I'll
this year.
go from here.
And the proof is in the green screen room, which he just happens to have at his disposal.
That's her ex-husband.
But why use green screens when you can pass off old videos as new ones?
So Britney just posted this 2 days ago saying that she's going to New York City. So notice she has the red boots on and then the sunglasses. I found this post a year ago, December 2021. She had pretty much the same exact outfit, the same hair, sunglasses, same top, and same red boots. And at the time, she was going to Hawaii.
And then there's the body double theory, based on the fact that A, she used to be a way better dancer. Sorry, Brits. And B, the teeth. These are old Britney's teeth. And here, allegedly, are the cheap imitation Britney's teeth. I mean...
This is the body double, gap teeth, right here, right
Freddie
here.
Mercury.
As if all that wasn't enough, this week, Paris Hilton inadvertently joined the fray, sharing this photo of her and Britney. Zoom in a little closer, and half of Britney's necklace chain is missing, and her fingers look a little bit odd. Fans suspicious that Britney had been photoshopped in to make it appear like she was at a birthday party.
Paris, are you in on this too now?
Paris later explained the situation, saying the original pic was blurry, so she used an app to fix it, which distorted the image. Britney weighing in on social media, saying there was no birthday party.
She literally just confirmed that she has not been to a B-Day party in forever, and in fact, that it's kind of creepy that these pictures are circulating. Holy shit.
So have Britney fans lost their collective mind, or does Britney need to be freed again?
Well, that's the nice version of it, because another version of that is that Britney passed away.
Yeah.
A while ago, like the
was
movie
killed.
Dave,
Right.
with Kevin Kline, where he looks like the president.
Yeah.
And then the president dies, so he replaces him.
Right.
Did you say or killed?
Or killed.
So who would have killed her?
Her family to get her fortune.
But then what was the point of the conservatorship ruse then?
Because the conservatorship only got them a very small percentage of her income per year. Now they get it all, baby.
Oh.
I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm saying that's a theory.
Okay.
We just don't know. We're actually going to be talking to an LA publicist about this story on a news show, which is going to be coming up. We'll let you guys know when it's going to air, but it's going to involve us and a guest each week. And one of the people we have coming in is going to talk about the Britney Spears rumors.
So stay tuned for that. And we are really going to jump in.
Yes. And we are going to also jump in to our next story. Next story coming up involves someone from the Dipod universe, Mr. Heath Ledger.
Oh, right. So this is interesting. Stephen Gaghan, he wrote Traffic, and he directed Syriana with George Clooney. Well, he was in talks with Heath Ledger to do a movie. They were going to collaborate. And obviously it never came to fruition because Heath Ledger died. Well, Stephen was in Heath's phone. And so Heath's dad called Stephen while he was at the airport and informed him about Heath's death just because he saw the name in the phone.
Oh, wow.
And so then Stephen said he pretty much collapsed after hearing the news and that he never did anything that dramatic before that day or since.
Wow.
That's the gist of it. Did I miss anything?
No, I don't think so. He said he died with the movie script in bed with him.
That's dedication. Is that true? Can we prove that?
Hey, during an episode of Developmental Hell Podcast, a spinoff of Malcolm Gladwell's revisionist history show, Gaghan said he had an idea in the early 2000s to turn Gladwell's book, Blink, The Power of Thinking Without Thinking, into a movie.
Blink, was that based on the 1993 thriller?
Yeah.
Starring Madeline Stowe?
Yeah. Developmental Hell, which is also, it was the #1 most like us on Spotify, by the way.
Shut up.
Yeah, yesterday.
And the other shocking thing is, who knew Malcolm Gladwell had so many podcasts?
Oh, God. He's got a lot going on.
He does.
After Ledger's death, I just had to put a pin in it, he said. In 2008, after the Brokeback Mountain star's tragic passing,
I'm from Texas, by the way.
Gaghan got a call from Ledger's father and Ledger's friend breaking the news about his death.
That's got to be so heartbreaking.
They were there with the body, and our script was in bed with him. And your book was on the bedside table.
It sounds like Joel Souza talking about the shots in Rust.
Yeah. I think my number was on the script, like written. These guys, as you can imagine, they're in shock, and they dialed that number, and I don't know why. It was to tell them that his script was in his arms as he died.
Wow. That's heavy.
Yeah. Not as heavy as the call to one of the Olsen twins who had to show up and be the Ray Donovan of the day.
Yeah. Remember, in Hollywood, you don't call the cops, you call the Olsen twins.
Yeah, exactly.
When you need help.
Yeah. Nick Swardson.
Wait, before you get to that, what kind of transition was that?
We didn't have the transition. Let's do it. All right, wait.
One more thing. Stephen Gaghan, this guy that we were just talking about, who Heath Ledger's dad called, his filmography is not what I expected.
No?
I assumed after directing Syriana and writing the critically acclaimed movie Traffic that he continued his hot streak.
Mm-hmm.
Well, his last credit is Doolittle from 2020.
Oh.
The one where Robert Downey Jr. cures an animal of gas. And there's a big fart tornado.
Oh, my God.
Anyway.
Did you see the movie?
I saw that scene.
Oh, God.
Anyway, you can transition.
What are you, on the stand of Rust, not fully answering questions? You saw the movie.
I don't recall.
Nice. Speaking of a fart tornado, poor guy. I actually really like Nick Swardson a lot as a
He's
comic
hilarious.
and as a guy. I've met him in the scene. Very nice dude.
I'm one of the few fans of I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry.
Yes.
Where he's very funny in it.
Grandma's Boy is one of my...
Oh, yeah.
I think it's the most watched movie I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Flop
in theaters, huge hit on DVD.
Watched it every day in college, every single day.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
Because of you.
Yeah.
No, I mean people like you, really. That's
Me
not,
specifically.
It made a ton of money on DVD, people passing it around.
Yeah. Always thought he was great. Saw him on Comedy Central Presents. Was like, this dude's hilarious. Then started seeing him in movies.
Yep.
Started comedy myself. Moved to LA. Met him at the Improv. Couldn't have been a nicer guy. It's known even to his own fans that he likes to drink a lot. He is, a big sports fan.
I'm only drinking a little. Look at this.
Big drinker.
Look
Yeah,
at this bottle.
These look like strong alcohol shots. They're just Chardonnay.
Even Peter Dinklage is going, come on, can you get me a regular size bottle over here?
He got removed from the stage at one of his shows recently, and it is brutal to watch.
Yeah. And turned off the spotlight.
This is called dying on stage.
Now they turned off his mic.
Yeah, they cut the mic.
He was rambling.
He was trying to get into a bit about Jason Statham being a beekeeper. And he'd be like, okay, here we go. All right, Jason Statham being a beekeeper. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. Jason Statham being a beekeeper. And he just kept repeating that over and over and over.
Like it was Milli Vanilli record scratching.
Yeah. And people were just screaming, you suck! which is horrible. You never want that to happen to anyone, especially someone as experienced as Nick Swardson is.
We all know Michael Richards didn't deal with that well.
Yeah, dealt with it the worst of anyone. Nick, all he did was eventually he was escorted off stage by one of the sound guys, and then the host of the show came back on and was like, "We will process." Well, I'll let him say it.
Hi. Good evening. My name is Justin. I'm the Director of Operations.
Director of Operations.
We've decided to conclude the show early in the best interest of those who bought tickets. We apologize for what you've seen tonight. Please email the box office. We'll be responding to inquiries and processing credits and refunds. We apologize. Thank you very much. I'll be in the lobby if you have questions or concerns. Please email the box office.
People are booing, and they're booing Nick. They're booing the situation, but there's some people who are also booing because they wanted Nick to keep going.
Yeah.
Because it was a spectacle.
Right.
And it's just like, let's see what happens from here. Don't take him off the stage.
And that's gotta suck. Think of what it takes these days to leave the house.
Yeah.
You get the babysitter, you drive to the venue, you're there a little early.
Yeah.
You spend $50 on Miller High Life.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there, and then suddenly
you're spending $100 on a babysitter.
This guy comes on the stage and says, "Oh, we're so sorry. No show tonight. We'll refund you."
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Refund the drinks.
AI Andy Rooney, what do you think about this?
Nothing seems funny this week.
Well, he was trying.
Yeah. He was trying, and we wish him well. We hope he bounces back. I know minority of people were probably really actually pissed off. I think everyone's going to have a good laugh about it, and he's going to come back to that town, and it's going to be funny.
For sure.
Yeah. So we hope that, he bounces back and gets back there as soon as possible. We also have, speaking of Andy Rooney thinking things are not funny, we got one last thing here. And that is this week's The Week. Haha of the Week. And this one is a little serious, but also we'll get into it.
More serious than Rust and Nick Swardson?
Yeah. This week's Haha of the Week is Vince McMahon selling $412 million worth of stock after his mismanagement of the company, you can say.
And of himself.
Yeah. And the haha is on us this time.
Oh, you don't say. You're doing us dirty.
The haha is on the people that bought this stock because Mr. McMahon, who is the founder of WWE and resigned from the board of the TKO Group earlier this year amid sexual assault allegations against him, filed to sell $411.95. That's just a lot of money. Okay. I'm like 411.95 cents million. 412 million worth of TKO stock, according to a regulatory filing. So when a public board member sells their stock, they have to file with the SEC so that it can be public knowledge that that person had sold their stock. McMahon's sale comprised 5.35 million shares of TKO. That came after he sold 8.4 million shares of Class A common stock in TKO in a sale worth $670 million last November. So if you're keeping count, that is more than $1 billion. Wow. So he's getting out of this laughing his ass off. Whether or
Unless
not
he goes to jail eventually.
Well, we have to see what the statute of limitations of sexual assault and human trafficking is in Connecticut. Might be low. We don't know.
Yeah, but when it's human trafficking and it involves multiple people, then the statute of limitations are not applicable.
Yeah. As of the end of 2023, McMahon had owned 20.35 million shares of TKO Group's Class A shares, meaning he still owns about 15 million shares. Wow. So the fact that he's even allowed to sell this stuff is just absolutely insane.
Mind-boggling.
Yeah. In January, former WWE employee Janelle Grant sued McMahon, the WWE, and former WWE executive John Laurinaitis. The lawsuit alleges that
No
McMahon-
relation to John Larroquette.
or gingivitis. The lawsuit alleges that McMahon abused and sexually exploited her and also trafficked her to other men, including Laurinaitis. One day after the lawsuit was filed, McMahon announced that he was resigning from TKO's board. However, he strongly denied the allegations in Grant's lawsuit.
Oof. So he got KO'd from TKO.
Yeah, he stands by his prior statement that Miss Grant's lawsuit is replete with lies, obscene made-up instances that never occurred, and is a vindictive distortion of truth.
Your Honor, it's simply replete with lies.
I mean, you can't fight City Hall, and this guy has more money than City Hall. So we'll see.
Yeah. He belly flopped on City Hall.
Yeah.
He gave City Hall a haircut.
He sent
in the middle of a ring.
He human trafficked City Hall. To John Laurinaitis.
He human trafficked human trafficking.
That's right. So, yeah, like I said, this week's haha of the week is all on us.
You know?
That one stings.
It does.
Yeah.
But you know what doesn't sting?
What doesn't sting?
The deados who have stuck with us tonight and made this a great show.
Yeah.
We love you.
All-time high on viewers. Thank you, guys. It's going to continue to grow week after week. Tomorrow, look out for the first episode of 2. We are finding out that recording the story, The Life and Crimes of Aaron Hernandez, are going to be too long to tell in one episode. So the first episode is coming out tomorrow, wherever you get your podcasts.
And it'll be Kyle's first 2-part podcast episode since the great Chris Farley.
Ooh, it's been a while.
And Aaron Hernandez, this is a long time coming. You're a Patriots fan, obviously.
I am.
You got a lot of reckoning.
It hurts to say. And in the first episode, I have a story about this story that you will not find anywhere else ever spoken about publicly.
Exclusive.
Dipod exclusive. Exclusive. Yeah, so there's a lot coming tomorrow. And then, like I said, we will have we believe it's going to be Thursday night show that comes out, and we have an interviewed guest, and we talk about smaller stories and talk about people's line of work and deaths that are in that realm of the industry.
Yeah, so we have a lot of exciting stuff on the horizon.
Yes. Yes, the Aaron Hernandez show, to answer your question, Shannon, that is tomorrow. That is going to be on Spotify and Apple, wherever you get your podcasts.
Be there or be square.
Yes, styles make fights, still says the Nick Swardson show. Still better than a Brendan Schaub show.
Oh, my gosh. That was like George Carlin compared to Brendan Schaub.
Yeah.
That performance.
So that's it for this week's Tuesday Night Live, Death and Entertainment Tonight Live. Join us again next Tuesday. Christ, let me say something.
Go ahead.
That's it.
Oh. That was like when you wanted to watch the end of that clip.
Yeah.
And there wasn't anything.
Can I finish?
That's
That's the end. I'm finished.
No, I was merely going to say, and until next week,
don't go dying on us.